With more than 66 movies in the back catalog of Batman's long and fabled history, some fans have suggested that we probably don't need any more. But that isn't going to stop DC. The studio have recently announced plans for a new Batman movie, but have also admitted future DC movies will feature the Caped Crusader less. Today we are discussing DC's plans for a new Batman film, plus what the future of DC films looks like.
Hey! What's the matter with you? This isn't the way to do this!
First up, we're talking about Jason Momoa. As you've probably heard by now, James Gunn and Peter Safran have recently assumed roles as co-chairman and co-CEO of DC Studios. And this news is music to the ears of a certain muscle-bound leading man in the shape of Jason Momoa, or Arthur Curry as Aquaman as you might know him. Speaking about the recent change at DC, Momoa said, "I think that with Peter Safran and Mr. Gunn at the helm now at DC, I'm very excited about that," before revealing that under their stewardship there will be a lot of cool things that will be coming up. Momoa was recently explaining his excitement at the news whilst out promoting his upcoming Netflix movie, Slumberland.
Welcome to my world, kid. Brand new dream still under construction.
But he failed to expand on his claims with how his dreams will actually be coming true with Safran and Gunn now at the helm. As we know, the Game of Thrones legend has already filmed the Aquaman sequel, which is set to drop next Christmas. So could he be talking about a third film in that particular movie franchise? Potentially, but he could also be referring to his character appearing in crossover films. Momoa led DC to their highest grossing film of all time, so it's safe to say the superstar actor will be afforded whatever he needs to make sure he still feels part of the DC family going forward. Give us your thoughts on Momoa's words below. Next up, Gunn has welcomed fans' ideas on choosing upcoming movies. Newly installed DC co-CEO James Gunn has outlined his intentions going forward by asking for input from the studio's fans on what they would like the future to look like. The studio have been involved in a serious rebranding effort of late, which saw Gunn and Safran come aboard, and it probably is down to Gunn's forward thinking as to why he was brought in. With a few releases on the horizon, it is thought DC's slate is pretty clear once the next 4 movies drop in 2023, and Gunn has asked fans for help as far as what they would like to see the studio working on. Taking to social media recently, Gunn asked his followers which DC character or characters who hasn't yet had their own film do you want to see most on the big screen. It is clear from his wording that Gunn is looking to focus on characters who have had little to no screen time, and fans were quick to jump on his post, offering up a number of suggestions within minutes. A few mentioned Batgirl after her solo movie was recently canceled, whilst others suggested Nightwing. Other popular suggestions ranged from Martian Manhunter to Plastic Man, whom we saw in Zack Snyder's Justice League, while some users pointed out the fact that neither Poison Ivy, Blue Beetle, nor Green Arrow have had their own movies. What would you guys like to see DC focus on going forward? Give us your thoughts below. A hint that Mr. Terrific could be joining the DCEU now. Stick around. It's safe to say that James Gunn has been busy in his new role as co-CEO at DC of late. Taking to Twitter, the exec has recently given fans a bit of a clue as to what his team might be working on in the near future, dropping a pretty big Mr. Terrific hint. Gunn and co-CEO Peter Safran are thought to be interested in developing material that hasn't been done before, and if Gunn's recent tweet is anything to go by, that could easily include a Mr. Terrific film or show. Gunn tweeted a couple months back that he had recently read Strange Adventures by Tom King and Mitch Gerads, describing it as the best, most complex, and yet elegant superhero story I've read in years. King then replied to Gunn, thanking him for the kind words, but Gunn wasn't done there. He added that the story had a beautiful tone, as well as plenty of twists and turns, before also adding that it featured the best version ever of one of my favorite characters, Mr. Terrific. Of course, the character was also referenced as Gunn polled fans recently as to who they would like to see brought to life by DC. Mr. Terrific is a superhero of genius-level intellect who goes by the name Michael Holt. He is also known to be part of the Justice Society, which we recently saw introduced in Black Adam. Would you like to see a Mr. Terrific film? So what about this new Batman film and DC's plans then? Let's see. Batman is one of the most popular superheroes of all time, and for that reason has a whole slew of movies about him. However, there is a lot of confusion about the character. Take, for example, the new Flash movie. When we mention Batman, that could mean either Ben Affleck or many people's favorite Michael Keaton. It could also mean Robert Pattinson. So many fans are currently tuning out from the whole Batman saga simply because they have no idea who the real Batman is. With James Gunn and Peter Safran now at the helm, this is one of the things they are tasked with addressing. It is thought the pair have nearly completed a DC Bible, which lays out plans for the studio's characters going forward. Warner Brothers CEO David Zaslav explained, "I think over the next few years, you're going to see a lot of growth and opportunity around DC. There's not going to be 4 Batmans, which we hope to see addressed in the recently announced The Batman 2. What we can take from this is that the studio wants to work on making everything less confusing and untangle what has come before. This could possibly mean bringing in one and only one Batman, but this is going to be more difficult than we could possibly imagine given Matt Reeves' The Batman universe and DCEU's Gotham apparently taking different trajectories. Hopefully, the upcoming Flash will go some way to addressing this problem. What do you guys make of this? What else do we know about DC's plans? Stay tuned to find out. Zaslav apparently wants to begin an age of linear movies, which are all interconnected somehow, which in itself sounds like a messy proposal. He canceled Batgirl, which went some way to ending some of the recent confusion, but he is surely hoping Gunn and Safran will be able to continue this trend of housekeeping. Gunn recently admitted that he has spent time of late mapping out what the next decade or so will look like at DCHQ. So what does all this mean moving forward? Well, with the Arrowverse creating some obscure yet popular characters, as well as shows like Young Justice and Harley Quinn, there is no shortage of content for the studio to discuss. Gunn and Safran will also need to figure out how Joker and the Batman could possibly connect to the DCEU, as right now they don't, whilst they will also be faced with plenty of other questions, as the state of DC right now is pretty convoluted. However, Zaslav seems to think Gunn and Safran are the guys to take the studio forward. As he recently said, part of our strategy is drive the hell out of DC, which James and Peter are going to do. What do you make of all this? And finally, how will Batman figure in future DC projects? Well, as we've recently found out, there aren't going to be 4 Batmans moving forward, which fans will almost certainly be thankful for.
What she has to do with this murder?
Whose murder?
The mayor's.
The man.
Speaking at the Capital Markets Technology, Internet, Media, and Telecommunications Conference recently, Zaslav appeared to take a leaf out of Marvel's book by claiming that in the future, we're not going to see a Batman TV show in one place and a Batman animation in another. He also said, there has to be a look and a feel for all of it. And so, I went on a journey just a few months ago of how do I put all of DC in one place? Because I think it's one of the biggest opportunities at this company. I mean, it's something that has needed addressing for years now, and we're glad somebody is finally taking the bull by the horns. It has also been suggested that Ben Affleck's Batman could be set to pop up for a cameo in the Aquaman sequel next year, but some fans have suggested that this could simply mean that the other 3 Batmen could pop up in other films. All of this will need to be clarified as we simply don't know what's going on right now.
You're leaving.
Jesus. Don't you ever just say hello?
But it seems as though Zaslav wants it all figured out to become more cohesive and, quite frankly, more understandable. Where do you guys stand on this? As usual, thanks for dropping by today, and remember to stop by again next time for some more fun and games. Bye, guys.